Hello everybody, my name is Dan the Jords said, but you can call me the Jord, and welcome to the first video in the series I'm gonna call Jord's World. And yes, we're gonna be talking about flat earthers. Now, if you're not familiar with flat earth, I'm about to change your world forever. We all know at least one person who believes one or two conspiracy theories. But what happens when you convince someone that all of science is a conspiracy? Well, you get people like Nathan Oakley.
His name is Nathan Hokey Cokey Jokley.
That's right, Mr. Oakley here is of the persuasion that the earth is flat. And despite the loads of evidence he's been shown demonstrating that claim to be false, he clings to his beliefs like a child in their security blanket. Today, we're going to be looking at a video Nathan uploaded. It's a clip of a recent live stream he and his echo chamber did, where they discuss...
Hey, Vsauce! Michael here.
He better have a good damn reason.
Science doesn't prove anything.
A guy that does nothing but talk about science claims that science now doesn't prove anything.
No, whoever you are, it's not that science now doesn't prove things, it's that proof isn't a scientific concept. As you idiots have been told time and time again, proof is for math, evidence is for science. This is a common issue among science deniers, not only in the flat earth community. Soon. Evidence is what supports a hypothesis, and when all available evidence supports one hypothesis over the other, the theory behind that hypothesis is validated. And until another theory with more evidence supporting it comes along, it'll stand. This is why science is always advancing, because nothing is ever considered 100% settled. The more our understanding grows, the more we learn about the world around us, the more we have to update what we previously thought to be the case into what we have shown to be true in the present. This may be a semantic argument, but in science, terminology is important. If you can't get the terms correctly, how could you be taken seriously by anyone who knows what they're talking about? Not that flat earthers have ever been taken seriously, though.
Michael from Vsauce is a science proves or disproves a hypothesis.
Oh god, Oakley, you make my skin crawl, dude. Less than 3 minutes into your video and you're already using a disability as an insult. Because I have respect, all you guys heard was a beep. But from now on, anytime a video I'm covering uses such vile, disgusting, repulsive language, I'm going to replace that with something infinitely more insulting. Let's run it back.
Michael from Vsauce is a Nathan Oakley.
Okay, much better. As I just said, science does not prove a hypothesis. Science simply supports or refutes hypotheses. This is why you'll never hear a scientist say, I have proven anything. They'll rather say, there's evidence to suggest, or studies have shown, or my professional opinion is that. Because whenever they put their name on a scientific paper, their reputation is on the line. Not that Oakley here knows anything about protecting his reputation.
It is empirical because it validates either the alternative hypothesis, your assumed cause of an effect you observe in nature, or your null hypothesis, that would be to say that your assumed cause does not cause the effect in nature.
No surprise here, Oakley doesn't understand what empirical means. No, Nathan, it's not empirical because it proves something. It's empirical because it relies on empirical evidence. Empirical evidence is quantitative. It involves data, measurements, things that can be verified and quantified. That's how it validates hypotheses. Also, notice, Oakley, how it's not empirical proof. Rather, it's empirical evidence. Science does not prove things.
Upon experimentation, you will either validate your null or validate your alternative, thus proving your cause or proving your null.
No, Nathan. No matter how hard you try to justify it with your layman's understanding of the scientific method, proof is not a scientific concept. Let's take a step back here and examine proof versus evidence. This Rubik's Cube has 54 different colored tiles on it, and I can prove it. If we count the number of tiles on one face, 9, we establish that the same number of tiles exists on every face, which it does, that'd be 9 tiles by 6 faces. 9 times 6 equals 54. Thus, this Rubik's Cube has 54 colored tiles. No matter who counts after me, no matter what the method of counting, there will always be 54 colored tiles. It's proven. Evidence, on the other hand, would be me trying to support the hypothesis that all Rubik's Cubes have 54 tiles or less. And I could provide multiple different cubes to test that assertion as empirical evidence. You could count the number of faces on 1,000,000 different cubes and see what percentage of those cubes were over or under 54. And for a short period of time in the 1970s, the under 54 number would be 100%, but it still wouldn't have been proven correct. Because in 1981, Rubik's introduced the Revenge Cube, a 4x4 variation of their classic puzzle cube that had 96 different colored tiles. Suddenly, the hypothesis that all Rubik's Cubes had 54 or less tiles is shown to be inaccurate, because a Rubik's Cube that was not previously available has made itself available and shown that claim to be false. Before 1981, I could make the statement, there's no evidence to support the existence of a Rubik's Cube with more than 54 tiles. And that would have been scientifically accurate, but it's still not proven. Because when such a cube was invented, that theory would have had to been updated to accommodate the new cube, just as science must leave room to accommodate new evidence. Science is at the mercy of new data, and especially new devices and technology for obtaining that data. Math is not. No matter what technology is available, there will always be 9 tiles per face, 6 faces per cube, and 9 times 6 will always equal 54. Did you get that, Oakley?
Michael from Vsauce, you are a science denier. Science doesn't prove things.
Science doesn't prove anything.
Yeah, it does, you clown.
This man is a lost cause. I'm just gonna skip this little rant he goes on where he pretty much repeats himself 6 times saying that science does prove things when in fact it doesn't. I'll touch on a few of the extra points from Nathan in the Peanut Gallery before closing off this video.
His channel is full of videos where he is speaking about science in relation to this globe that we're supposed to live on.
Watching flirs in their natural habitat is absolutely precious. He says Vsauce's videos are full of science in relation to this globe. No, you absolute
Nathan Oakley.
Very few of Vsauce's videos are directed at Earth science. You just have a problem with actual science because you are a science denier.
The people on the globe side of this argument, and in this particular man's instance, he's also an anti-flat earther. He's made anti-flat earth videos. So the people who literally oppose us and stand with the globe faith are science deniers.
1, Nathan. Vsauce has made 1 flat earth video. So saying that he literally opposes you is probably more for your own ego than anything else.
They've used science all these years when it was convenient. And then when we ask good questions and say, prove it, now they have to throw their science under the bus and say, well, it actually doesn't prove things because we can't answer your flat earth questions. So we got to say it doesn't prove things.
It's amazing how they try to act like science not proving things is a new concept. As if the scientific method was somehow hijacked in the middle of the night by a secret cabal of lab coats and Bunsen burners. Just to prove these idiots wrong, here's a clip from Richard Feynman in the 1960s explaining this exact concept.
Suppose that you invent a good guess, calculate the consequences, and discover that every consequence that you calculate agrees with experiment. The theory is then right? No, it is simply not proved wrong. Because in the future, there could be a wider range of experiments, you could compute a wider range of consequences, and you may discover then that the thing is wrong. That's why laws like Newton's laws for the motion of planets last such a long time. He guessed the law of gravitation, calculated all the kinds of consequences for the solar system and so on, compared them to experiment, and it took several hundred years before the slight error of the motion of Mercury was developed. During all that time, the theory had been failed to be proved wrong and could be taken to be temporarily right, but it can never be proved right because tomorrow's experiment may succeed in proving what you thought was right wrong.
And with the words of a much smarter man than I'm gonna leave this video here. If you made it this far, I commend you. If you want to watch Nathan's video, I'll leave a link to it in the description, next to a link of Richard Feynman lectures, just as a palate cleanser. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and the Jords said, like and subscribe. Later, y'all. 9 times... Oh. Shit.